I don't know where to start, really, boys. I mean, so much to talk about within one game. I've done my usual format, the positives, negatives, and the talking point, but it is only one place to start, really. Of course, as I've mentioned already, you thought Jesse Lingard coming on to score. You thought, yeah, of course, that's obviously going to happen. Typical West Ham, blah, blah, blah. But even I didn't. And the most pessimistic or argent, long-term, long-suffering West Ham fans surely couldn't have seen what happened with Mark Noble at the end. For any of you, bizarrely, who haven't seen the game or didn't know what happened, West Ham 1-1 in the game. Said Benrahma's deflected effort puts us 1-0 up. Cristiano Ronaldo equalises. Game's coming into the closing stages. Jesse Lingard comes off the bench. He got a very good reception from the home fans, and rightfully so. But I think there was quite a few in the ground, me included, whose head went immediately into hands and thought, oh, well, the script is already written. You know what's going to happen here. Well played, Jesse. Good goal. Good win, Man United. Nice one. That, of course, happened. He spends one in the top right corner. And then out of nowhere, cross comes in from the wide position. Jared Bowen, Luke Shaw's and inexplicably up in the air, hits him in the arm. Blatant penalty, goes to VAR, rightfully so, pen given. David Moyes decides, as Declan Rice and Manuel Lanzini are arguing over who's going to take it, he decides that he's going to haul off Jared Bowen, put on Mark Noble, penalty specialist, captain extraordinaire, to take the game, fairy tale finish, and we get a point at home to Man United. And he puts it nice and easy height to David De Gea's left. David De Gea, who I believe hasn't saved the penalty in his last 39. I haven't checked that stat, but I will double check as this section goes on. And the whole stadium are just absolutely devastated. And shortly after, Martin Atkinson, one of the worst Premier League referees I've seen at London Stadium for a long, long time, blows his final whistle. And West Ham have lost 2-1. We can only start with that decision, David Moyes' decision to bring Mark Noble on. Jonesy, I'll go to you first, mate. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
I mean, it's one of those decisions where, in hindsight, it's the worst decision that Premier League manager's made in a moment like that. What annoys me is that had he not done that, no one, and so like Declan Rice had taken it and he'd missed, no one would have gone, oh, he should have brought Noble on because Noble would have scored it. No one would have batted an eyelid.
Well, a couple, the people who would, you'd be going, shut up, you idiot.
Yeah, like, why would you put him on to take a penalty? Yeah. So, but the moment he come running on, like I said to my mate, I was like, this is going to end badly. Because you look back at it was only a few months ago that we were criticising Southgate for doing the exact same thing ahead of a penalty shootout in the European Championship final, which backfired. So, it's like looking at it now, just think, what a stupid thing to do. Just really, really stupid thing to do. But yeah, as I said in the intro, it hurts for a little bit, but then you kind of just go, well, to be fair, they probably should have had at least one penalty earlier on in the game. I know Ronaldo had 3 calls. He definitely died for 2 of them. We'll get onto that. But yeah, it's just one of those things where you go, right, well, that was a bit stupid, but we're West Ham. There's always something stupid. Doesn't matter how great things are at the football club. There's always something ridiculous that happens. And I think this is the one.
I agree, mate. And I think ultimately what it boils down to, Moyes and Mark Noble have got more than enough credit in the bank with West Ham fans at the moment.
Absolutely.
They've into that little bit. It is a bad decision. You can't blame Noble, really, I don't think. No. Moyes said after the game that he asked and said he was ready. It's awkward that he's not going to say no, is he? Really? Well, I mean, maybe he would. Maybe as a captain, it's important to say no as well as yes. Maybe it's a bit of an outdated view of mine that the captain's always going to go, yeah, I'm ready, Gaffer, because he sort of thinks it's what Moyes wants to tell him. One thing I will say is, to give David Moyes his due, I think it seemed to me, because I was at first watching Lanzini and Rice, there seemed to be a little bit of confusion. So I don't know this for certain, but I'd hypothesized by the end that perhaps Benrahma was down to take this one. And because he'd come off, there was then some indecision about whether Lanzini or Rice would take it. And Moyes thought, no, I'm the manager. I need to stamp my authority on this, remove any confusion and lead from the front. That could have looked like shouting, Declan, it's yours. But, again, it is a bad decision. I don't agree with it. And important to note. I would have said that even if Noble had scored, I'd have gone, what are you doing tempting fate like that? I don't care what a fairy tale it is. That was no good for my heart rate.
I think this is a problem we've got now, though, is that we need to have a list of allocated penalty takers in order that everyone knows, that the players know, because it doesn't seem like the players know. Now, I think when Antonio missed at Newcastle, was it Declan Rice came out and said, "Oh, it's my go next."
Yeah.
Declan Rice scored one and missed one last season. I think Lingard took two, scored one and missed one last season. So we haven't got like a proper penalty taker anymore, because Noble's not going to start every game, as we know. So they've got to nail that down, And if they pick one and he misses 3 or 4 on a trot, then you might go, okay, right, we'll switch it around. But if you pick one, then he misses 2 and then goes and scores the next one, then you got to keep that. It has to be consistent. Otherwise, you're always going to get a penalty and not know whether you're going to score it or not, where you need that confidence behind you when you get a spot kick.
Don't you think, though, Reece? I mean, to get your thoughts properly in a minute, mate, but don't you think that with what Jonesy said there, isn't that what Moyes was trying to negate? He was trying to take away any confusion and go, no, I'm the manager. I'm going to stamp my authority on this situation, and I'm going to put my penalty specialist on the pitch. And fair play to him, he took the flack afterwards, didn't he?
Yeah, I think that's the only way that there'll be any sort of, the conversation's closed on it now. He's come out and said that it was his decision. And, we've all got to accept it. I mean, it was, in my opinion, it was an absolute bonkers idea. Touching on what you've both said, we knew Antonio obviously weren't playing this week. So surely they must have had a chat about who was going to take penalties. And in all of it, I mean, fair play to Noble. I'd be the same. It's his last season. If he'd scored it, yeah, I think you're right. Everyone would have been well happy, but there still would have been that bit of blimey, that was a bit lucky. But,
yeah,
I do feel a bit for Rice as well if he wanted to take it, because, he's captain. I'm not saying that he's not putting trust in him, Moyes, because he had to make the decision on the spot. But, we can't be doing that every game. That we get penalties. Who's unsure? We practice penalties. We've got a lot of people that are happy to take a free kick from 40 yards out. Cresswell and
Cresswell, yeah. Everyone forgets him, don't they? He's the best striker of the ball, isn't he?
Especially as I backed him to score, obviously. So I would have said, to him to take it. But they're the little things that you also think to yourself, like, why are we doing it? Like, why do we just not go, right, he's taking the pen? Bowen, anyone. We've got a lot of people that can take sort of good. I mean, some of them might not fancy it. You see that in European tournaments, World Cup tournaments. With goalkeepers, yeah, it might be a different story, but certainly not bringing on a player who, he's probably one of the most confident players in the world, Mark Noble, but it must have been in the back of his head, what happens if I miss it? He must have known it was going to be like the last kick of the game. So... But he's professional, and, that's why I think Moyes, he sort of squashed it and we move on.
Yeah, you're right, mate. Definitely. And again, none of us have sort of slaughtered him here. You can say he's made a bad decision, and I think we're all in the same boat there. It just, and I think that's the difference. People go, it's easy to say that afterwards. It's like, no, even if he'd have scored, guarantee I'd have gone, what the hell have you done that for? Like, everyone, just Noble's like freezing cold off the bench. The Euros is such a good example of that, Jonesy. I just think when your body temperature's up and you're a bit sweaty and you're into it already and your muscles are warm and your adrenaline's pumping, maybe, I don't know, you've just got a feel for people. People are going, what do you mean to get a feel for the ball? He's taken 39 or scored 39 penalties. He knows what a ball feels like. It's like, well...
It's mindset, isn't it? It's mindset. Yeah. If you just played, even if you come on 10 minutes earlier, you're in that mindset of playing a football match. And that mindset then sort of carries itself over to taking a high pressure penalty. When you're coming straight off the bench, knowing it's your last kick of the game and you got to score, you're not in that mindset yet. You've got like 30 seconds to prepare, where if you've been playing for 5-10 minutes before, you're already a little bit sort of in the zone a little bit, and I just don't think he was in the zone for it.
No, I was fully expecting him to come on with his sliders and socks.
But also, I think, if he's running on, he's obviously going through where he's going to put it. Why didn't just lever it either down the middle?
That's what I was screaming for.
What he should have done, he should have just, as he was running on, he should have just carried that on as he's run up.
Yeah.
Like, just run from the sideline.
And then run straight off.
Yeah, and then just done one of these ones. Sub Moyes, sub.
That's another thing that surely you would take that focus away from, am I going to put it left or am I going to put it right? He might have thought that when he was going on, I'm just going to put it to his right. But for me, he should have just gone straight on if he's taking it, just blasted it. What happens then, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, yeah, it just felt like too much as soon as it happened. But hey, I mean, look, whatever. No one's going to slag either of them off. I just hope now that, and there's no way at training this week, like, number one thing, Moyes will sat down, wouldn't he? Probably Sunday night or Monday morning, got everyone in. Right, lads, my bad, hands up, well played on Sunday. Before we talk about Wednesday or the game, item one, while you're eating your breakfast, I want, or first meeting after breakfast, I got a list here. This is the list of penalty takers at West Ham. Number one is Mark Noble if he's on the pitch. Number two is Declan Rice. Number three is Saïd Benrahma. 4 nails, Cresswell. That's our 5, all right? So remember that. I don't want to see any arguing, no faffing about. This is the 5. And this one he's injured. This is what we're doing from now on. And I hope it takes the confusion out of it a bit. But hey, one of those things.
Two penalties on Wednesday night, mate.
Yeah. Just Noble's taking all of them.
No one's going to want to take one.
Yeah. Stuart Pearce come off the bench. Yeah. Support for the We Are West Ham podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who are the men's below-the-waist champions of the world. Manscaped offer precision-engineered tools for your family jewels, and they just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, all across Europe. Yep, you can join 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, who we've teamed up with to bring you 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code WeAreWestHam. That's all one word, We Are West Ham at manscaped.com. Imagine shaving with a sleek, well-designed and optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time, just like watching West Ham is your favorite time of the week. We're lucky enough to be one of the first to try the new 4.0, and it's fair to say we're blown away by its performance. It's a next-level product that really will change the way you approach your grooming routine. James, trimmers, shaving, keeping yourself nice and tidy down there. Any funny or embarrassing stories?
Nothing from me. I'm not saying I'm a pro or anything, but nothing from me. But a friend of mine has quite an embarrassing story, which I always think about. Always makes me giggle, particularly after a few beers when we go out on a night out with him. But on a Magaluf lads holiday about 10 years ago, he thought on his first night he'd give himself a little bit of a tidy up. And went all the way. As you do, yeah. But he first time he'd ever done it, so he wasn't, he didn't really know about the aftercare and everything that comes with it, and spent a good 24, 36 hours in agony because of the Magaluf heat and the sweating that comes with it naturally, and it was very uncomfortable for him. So he got absolutely no luck, which was his intention, and so we've laughed about it ever since. What about you, mate?
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I used to be a regular waxer, believe it or not. Just a little professional studio we had near my work in an old life. This was, and I used to go and get it done in a salon, but it's an expensive way of doing it. It's like 40 quid a go every 6 weeks or whatever it was. And then so one day I thought, I'll have a go at this at home. It's got to be cheaper. Bought all the strips, and I won't go into details, but it was very, very painful. And it was not a pretty sight afterwards either. So from then on, switched to trimmers, and it's been shavers all the way for me since then. Clean and tidy, no hassle, very, very similar effect. So to say not details, but it was not pretty. So trimmers all the way.
To be fair, mate, I never had you down as a waxer, if I'm honest. But yeah, I mean, you learn something new every day, didn't you? Manscaped have engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer to combat all those embarrassing stories once and for all. by focusing on intelligent functionality and incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to advanced skin-safe technology. And it also has a very impressive 4,000 LED spotlight, which I can show you right there.
Well, hey, have a look at that. Shaving in the dark.
Shaving in the dark, just in case you need to, for whatever reason. I wouldn't recommend it.
For the awkward dark spots.
Little dark spots. Again, if you've got any, it comes in handy. And that can be turned on and off when needed for a more precise shave. This thing literally does have everything. It even boasts wireless charging, additional guard links with sizes 1 to 4, and a multi-function on and off switch that can engage travel lock. So lads, if you need to up your game when it comes to tidying up your trophy cabinet, or if you've been shaving down below with the same trimmer you use for your face, now's the time to dip into the transfer market and bring in a superstar signing who will upgrade your look and feel instantly. West Ham have done just that this summer, so now it's your turn. So head over to manscaped.com for 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code WeAreWestHam. That's all one word, WeAreWestHam. You wouldn't stick a goalkeeper up front if you're a manager, so why choose anything other than the right tools for the job when it comes to your grooming? Trust us, you won't regret it.
Right, so next of all then I suppose is of course the Jesse Lingard goal, which seemed like it's just forgotten about basically already, but that ultimately was the winner. It was a scorcher of a goal. In the build up there was a little bit of confusion before. I haven't seen it back because of, just usual stuff. I just couldn't bring myself to watch match of the day and watch the game back, but there seemed a bit of confusion. Reece, you'll probably be able to shed a little bit more light on this, or Jonesy, I think it was down your end of the stadium as well. A little bit of hesitation, it seemed, I believe, between Zuma and Fabianski, where I felt Fabianski should have just come for it. And then about 2 or 3 passes later in the same passage of play, Lingard's bending it into the top right corner. What was Reece? What can you sort of, am I right in thinking that from where I was sat?
Yeah. It's sort of happening quite a bit in the last sort of 5 minutes. It was a bit hesitant, but Lingard got into that pocket like he did quite a few times for us last season, where in between the right back and the centre half. And as soon as he got the ball, you could see what he was trying to do. Fair play to Zuma I've read some people saying he should have shut him down quicker, but in fairness to Lingard, he moves his feet quick. And if you're going to get a goal like that, then it's going to be straight in the top corner. It's not a tap in, so you can't do a lot about goals like that, in my opinion.
No, that's what I always say. That though is I don't never ever really care if someone scores a good goal against us. You think fair enough, like if you give it to them or line it up. If someone pings one in the top corner, ultimately you just got to go, yeah, good goal. You can't. I honestly was annoyed with Fabianski in the build-up. I think that's that stage of the game. All the players are leggy. That's when the keeper is worth his money, isn't it? Like you come out and start dominate things, kill the game, slow it down. There was a couple during the game as well. A bit earlier, I thought he looked a bit hesitant, and there was one that was like a cross coming from the right, and it was like in his 6-yard box. And I don't know who it was. Might have been Kufels there, like spooning it out from the 6-yard box. Like, come on, son, what are you doing? But yeah, Jonesy, I saw you tweet just saying Lingard was forced into celebrating. It sort of looked like that ish at first. I thought he was just going to do one of these ones, like no, and then all of a sudden he was like right up in the away fans getting involved. What did you make of that?
No, I mean, I was interested to see whether, as soon as the goal went in, I was interested to see whether he would celebrate. And very quickly, Bruno Fernandes and Ronaldo were basically grabbing him by the shirt and shoving him towards the United fans. And if you watch the replay back, like, he wanted no part of that celebration. He did not want to disrespect the fans, especially after the reception we gave him. I can't remember the last time we gave a returning player that kind of reception.
It's like Carlos, or probably, wasn't it? Carlos Tevez.
Maybe, yeah. So he's had a great reception. He scored the winner. And fair, I mean, no one would have batted an eyelid if he had celebrated. Everyone would have gone fair play. Like he's scored,
especially after the Champions League game, where he
scored for his game. Yeah, exactly. And like he scored for his boyhood club a year after being frozen out. It happened to be against a team that kind of revived his career, but that's why he didn't sign for us in the summer, is because he wanted to stay at Man United and fight for his place. And so I don't think anyone would have begrudged him celebrating. But if you do watch it back, he wanted no part of it. He actually did not want to be involved in that at all. But fair play to him. I'm happy for him. Like, I want to see him do well. I thought he was superb for us last year, as everyone knows. And I only want the best for the man. So if that's for Man United and not West Ham, then fair play. It's just a shame that he had to score that goal in the way that he did and the fashion that he did. But yeah, it's what it is, really, isn't it?
Could have done that against Young Boys and knocked one through to Vlasic for us, couldn't he?
Well, I mean, it would have been nice. It would have been nice, but as he put in his Instagram story, his Instagram is like, well, that's football, innit? So yeah, I suppose he's right, isn't he?
Yeah. And I did sort of, on one hand, if that was any other game, I'd have been delighted he'd scored like after that, because sort of a lot of pressure on him. He must have felt pretty awful after that Young Boys game. So one thing I've sort of seen, and I'm very much of the view that in case anyone is in two minds about Lingard wanting to come home, as some fans were singing and all that sort of stuff, for me, I was like, right, forget about him now. I don't want to hear too much more like waxing lyrical. Oh, miss him. Like, he enjoyed that. And again, it's for Man United. He wants to play for Man United. Like, let's not lower ourselves to that. Let's have our own standards and go, right, if you don't want to play for us. And we got Saïd Benrahma, who, to be honest, is playing, you'll be argued, but he's there or thereabouts as good as Lingard was last season. Probably not as good yet, but he's found his form. He's a player brimming with confidence in that same position. And frankly, we don't really miss him, do we?
No, I mean, what he done for us last year was superb. We obviously, whatever the problem was about not trying to get him, if it was ultimately he didn't want to leave the club where he's from, then you've got to say fair play. I mean, I'm quite I don't really know how to sort of what the word is, but if it was me and I'm a player and I'm scoring a goal like that, I'm celebrating that. I know it's different nowadays because he could get death threats and things said about him, but in my opinion, he got a good reception. Obviously, when he was warming up, they showed that on the telly, and when he come on, as soon as he crossed over the line, that should have been the association with us sort of finished. And from his standpoint, so not celebrating, he might not score another goal like that. If that's me, mate, my shirt's off, I'm getting a yellow card, and I'm writing out. No, but do you know what I'm saying? He's done that mistake the other night, and when I look at it, when West Ham players don't sort of celebrate if they do score against any of their old teams, I'm a bit like, come on, you've got a career here, enjoy it, sort of thing. So. Yeah, I was bitterly disappointed, obviously, when he scored it, but he gave everything to us. We weren't, he sort of don't owe us anything. He treated us.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Said on his Instagram, he said it is football. So he could have taken the penalty at the end, though, just to even it out. That would have been nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, definitely, mate. I just think now, everyone was sort of saying it as if it was West Ham who didn't try hard enough. I think it has proved so far this season that, I think if he wanted to make that move happen, he probably could have. And I just don't think he did. So I think we need to sort of leave it in the past now. It's in the past and he was good. He's got us to Europe. And let's, you gotta focus on the players we've got. Yeah, I just, any of that still, like, it's all been a bit cringy for me, like sort of begging him to come back. And I'm like, well, it would happen if he wanted to and he was desperate. It would happen, but he's not. So, which is fine. No thingy against him for that. But like, have a bit of sort of respect for your club and standards of ourselves, and go, yeah, fair enough, mate. Like, it was only a loan. Like, you've done well for us. Exactly what you said. Like, you didn't just come and take our money for 6 months. You were brilliant, but it's behind us now. So yeah, no more of that. That's for sure. And I'm not quite sure I want him to do quite as well for Man United as I perhaps did before the game. But look, let's talk about a few more sort of positive things. There's loads of stuff, really, lads. I mean, we're quite a way into this already. Those are the two biggest things, of course. I'm going to do what I sometimes do, Jonesy. I'm going to let you pick, give you a few choices here. So the Wan-Bissaka foul on Thomas Souček that Martin Atkinson, who was appalling, by the way, decided to give a free kick to Man United for. I've got a general note about how Martin Atkinson was an absolute shambles. My positives, I've got Zuma, Ogbonna, basically everyone, sort of bar Fabianski and Souček in the early parts of the game. Jared Bowen definitely played the best game I've ever seen him play for West Ham. I thought he was phenomenal. We've won in Europe, was still good. The atmosphere was good. The negatives, I've got Fabianski and the hesitation on a couple of occasions. Souček, terrible at the beginning. Confidence looked shot. Grew into the game. We've touched on the decision. Yarmolenko was terrible when he came on. I suppose, Jonesy, I'll let you choose. Obviously, Zoom was world class. It feels like the Wan-Bissaka / Martin Atkinson thing is something I want to go with, but whatever you fancy out of all that lot, mate.
Well, I'll let you go with that, but I want to just touch on Zuma.
Yeah.
Because, I know we're going to talk about the Zagreb game after this, but he showed it in that game, but against United in particular, he brings that level of quality in our defence just up 3 or 4 levels for me. Just absolutely class throughout. Shows his experience, and we all knew it was a good signing when we got the signing in. It was all confirmed, but actually, what he offers our defence is something that I don't think many people actually anticipated. We knew he was going to strengthen our back four, but I think he's actually strengthened it more than I think we all initially thought. It's just 2 or 3 levels above where we were before. And that's no disrespect to Dawson. I think Dawson's been great for us, but as you said a couple of weeks ago, his time in the team is probably on his way out. And there's no way Zuma's leaving that starting 11 now. I think he's absolutely class, and we just need to make sure he stays fit now for the season, because he's going to be massive for us. Absolutely massive. I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch for me against United.
Yeah. I mean, Ogbonna, I thought as well, was also phenomenal. I thought Man United's game, I was surprised how, for a team who's supposed to be sort of all conquering, absolutely outstanding, it was a lot of get the ball out wide, sling it in the mixer, and which was a little bit surprising. But I thought obviously the quality of the balls were sort of fairly challenging most of the time. But I thought both of them, Ogbonna as well, just dealt with so much. And even their goal, it just seemed a bit like, I was stunned when it went in. It all seemed to come out of nowhere. But yeah, Kurt Zuma, absolutely phenomenal. Hats off to Ogbonna as well. So yeah, definite kudos for him on that one, Jonesy. And yeah, it looks a snip already, doesn't it? People sort of, the idea of Craig Dawson playing instead of him now. Obviously, we all love Dawson and all that, but coming up against teams not like are going to pepper us as much as United did, he's going to be priceless, isn't he? And that going up with that back four, you back those against most attacking lineups in the league, wouldn't you? Yeah, so definitely exciting from Zuma. Reece, you can take your pick, mate, for any of the other stuff that you want to move on to next.
I'd like to talk a bit about Souček. I thought he was poor, or one of his poorer games. Let's say that he was still very busy, I thought. But I've seen a lot of the people talking about Fabianski. We've all touched on it in the last since we signed that keeper, and I think he showed a bit of the good and the bad yesterday. The save in the first half onto the post was a great save. There was a couple in the second half, but he's very hesitant. There was a couple of times where it was he reminded me a bit of when we had Jaskalainen at West Ham, when there were shots happening.
He weren't that bad. Jesus Christ.
There were shots happening, and he's sort of he's just leaving them, if you know what I mean. So, I don't, I don't see him playing Wednesday night, but I can't take a lot of it away, because I did think every player was very, very good. So, there was a couple of negatives, and also you could touch on it. It proves January how we will need someone to play up front.
I must admit,
it worked, and I thought we were busy, but there was times in the game where chances popped up where if you've got someone proper in the box, whether it could end up being Vlasic, I don't know, but he strikes me as a bit more of a Fornal sort of player in the games that I've seen.
Yeah, I thought on the Souček point, I thought he grew into the game, but he's been off colour recently, isn't it? It sort of seems to be a bit of a thing. And at the beginning, that looked like a player shot of confidence at the moment. He perhaps has probably been listening to this, heard us dig him out a couple of times. Not dig him out, but just say he hasn't had his greatest showings. Thomas, if you are listening, we are all 100% behind you. We know you've got it in you to turn it around. But I thought the early doors in the game, very little pressure from like midfielders. He's just like shinning them out for throw-ins when he's trying to pass 15 yards. Like, a lot of his touches were off, and I could literally remember so many like games or whatever, or if you're having a bad training session and like you can tell you just don't want the ball, and as soon as it comes to you, you're like, and even like a 5-yard cushion, you end up like blasting it at someone or the other way. I did think he grew into the game though. Second half, I didn't notice anything from that side of things. Josie, what do you make of the Fabianski thing then? Just quickly, Areola plays Wednesday almost certainly. I think there's room for him to sort of keep a place in the team if he does well.
I mean, I think we're all kind of waiting for that switch to happen permanently, aren't we? I mean, we all expected him to play.
I really wasn't until like.
Well, I think everyone was expecting him to come in for the Zagreb game, and he didn't. And I don't know whether that's them making people think that Fabianski's on his last legs anyway. Couple of little mistakes, couple of little dodgy moments, and it's highlighting those little errors or sort of little moments a little bit more because they know that there's a top class goalkeeper on the bench that we brought in on loan. And everyone's kind of going, okay, well, is he going to make the change? And I think you're right. I think he will play on Wednesday night, but I don't know. I still think he's a safe pair of hands between the sticks. A couple of fans near me were blaming him for the goal, saying he should have caught it rather than parried it back out again. But that's like 3 yards away from him. Not many keepers are saving that at that distance. So you can't really blame him for the goal. He did put up a couple of good saves.
That's Ronaldo's goal, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, what's he going to do there? Like 3 yards out, and it's like reaction save. And another day he tips that over. So it was just one of those things. But yeah, I don't know. I still think it's a safe pair of hands. It'd be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing Areola. But yeah, I don't think he's done enough to warrant being dropped, if you know what I mean. I can't imagine Areola will come in and then keep his place and that'll be it. I still think it's his position to lose.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, yeah, interesting. I was disappointed. It's the first time. I've always been pretty pro him. I thought the idea of having him out wasn't really appealing to me. I think people at the beginning of the season just seemed to, one of those things where people want change for the sake of change. But yeah, I was disappointed, particularly with the second one, more the second one and a couple of bits before that. But not so bad. Yeah, Martin Atkinson, then we've got to do it if none of you are going to bring it up. Woeful. I mean, the refereeing has been fantastic this season. First of all, West Ham's games and across the Premier League, any games I've watched have been loads better. The changes they've made to let the game flow a bit more have been brilliant. But it wasn't really anything to do with that. He was just rubbish, the wrong decisions. I'm sort of pro VAR. I think that's been used better this season as well. The games seem more enjoyable. The Shaw penalty at the end, blatant penalty, good use of it. The goals, Ronaldo's one, I didn't see it, but apparently Reece, that was tight. But again, nice and quick in the stadium. There was no one booting off as if it was like a complete and utter travesty of a decision on Twitter afterwards. So you think someone said about an armpit, but there or thereabouts. But it was just terrible. Like, it was just awful. It's just classic, like old school, like watching a ref be scared because it's Manchester United play. Little free kicks and stuff that just weren't free kicks, giving them straight away. When if you just have the cojones to tell their players to get up once or twice early in the game, it makes for a better game. But he wasn't doing any of that. Reece, you'll probably be better placed because you saw all the replays and stuff. But just as an overall refereeing performance, terrible. I don't know where to start, really. The Souček foul, I didn't even spot it at the time. As in, I sort of saw it happen in the corner of my eye. And then he blew the whistle. My dad's like, he's giving a pen. I don't really see it, so I didn't know what was going on. He gave a free kick, so I wasn't too annoyed. I only saw the footage earlier on. Wan-Bissaka just slide tackles Thomas Souček, doesn't get the ball, goes down in the box. And not only does he just not give it, he gives a free kick to Man United. But then that's when I say, right, where's VAR then? Because it's a ridiculous decision by Atkinson. But you all seen it on TV, Reece. What was the chat around it? What did you make of all that? Because it just seemed just farcical. It's like you can't play Man United without coming away going, "Well, the referee was crap."
I mean, the Souček decision originally, I thought it was offside. I thought actually, that's going to be tight. You mentioned like the Ronaldo one that would have been given last year because he's like his arm was pointing where he wanted it, but when they played it back, and you just see, you're right, he just totally comes in from the blind side and wipes him out. I think this is the problem with the VAR side of things. You obviously want the referee to let the game go as much as he can, but you're right. Someone's got to be in his ear hole going, at least maybe go and have a quick look at that. And with the Man United penalty shouts, yes, I think they probably should have had one, but on a couple of them, I do think he's made the right decision. And then he makes other decisions where you think, mate, what are you doing? Needless tackles in the first half where he was stopping the game from sort of flowing. Fernandes was on the deck. Ronaldo done a couple. But this is the point about the consistency of referees. And as you say, this season has been far better. I'm very much with all of it, what they're doing. But it also just showed up yesterday. He's an ability to referee a proper game. Do you know what I mean?
I just think I've said it for years, mate, and you hear former referees come out and admit it, that when they play Man United or Arsenal or whatever, they're like a bit more on edge, and it's just human nature that they end up sort of siding with them a little bit, like on the 50-50s become 60-40s. And that sort of thing. And normally when Martin Atkinson's the ref, if it was Leeds this weekend, I go, brilliant. He's pretty good. Yeah, don't mind that at all. Pretty respected senior official, whatever. No problem with him. And it's just like Man United come to town, and even someone like him hasn't got the cojones or whatever to just go, yeah, that's not a foul, Paul Pogba. I don't care how much you gesticulate. And Ronaldo, I don't care how much you whine and moan and throw your arms up in the air, which I love to see. It was great seeing that again in person, by the way, him just like flopping around on the floor. I just think it's that same old Man United stuff every time. It's like they're a good football team anyway. It's like the chances are they're just beating us at football. But, it just winds me up when I thought he was absolutely terrible. Just we've sort of wrapped this one up with 45 minutes in already. We're only just through section 2 here. I thought Yarmolenko offered absolutely zero when he came on. You've mentioned it already that we definitely need to do something or get someone in January. I thought, just a quick one as well, Man United I thought looked okay. I thought we went head to head and we matched them minute for minute throughout the game. We looked as dangerous as they did. I thought we defended outstandingly well, and went proper toe to toe with him, which is brilliant. Just like tip of the hat to Luke Shaw. I thought he looked pretty good. He's just effective at what he does. He kept the ball all times. Every time I looked at him, he's like in the final third, like just looking like he wants to get on the end of something. And I thought he caused us problem. I thought we contained him pretty well. I think West Ham seemed to have made the decision that Luke Shaw can do what Luke Shaw is going to do. We've got other things to worry about. But no, I thought he was good. But all in all, lads, ultimately, with one away from home in Europe and with all but for one kick, not got a point against a team who everyone's saying is going to win the Premier League, and who also haven't lost a game away from home in something like 29 games. It's like the all-time record, isn't it, or the Premier League record of away games without a defeat. So no shame in losing 2-1 to Manchester United whatsoever. Let's hope, though, of course, that we can get a bit of immediate revenge on Wednesday